Welcome to Stephanie's List. I'm Stephanie Gadden, technologist and global citizen. Every episode, I open my contact book for a conversation with one of my friends. My career path has zigged and zagged through corporate IT, insurance, small business, a software startup, and many more. I always find myself making friends with the most fascinating and most unique people. So, who are these interesting individuals? Pull up a chair, grab a coffee, and settle in to find out more.
I'm Kirsten Taylor, this is Stephanie's List, and you're on it.
Hi everyone, I'm here with my good friend Kirsten Taylor, who I met a few years ago in the printing industry, and I'm going to ask Kirsten to talk about her first impressions, the first time she remembers meeting me and how we met, and tell that story just for a minute, because I think it's funny and interesting, and I think she does too. So Kirsten, tell all my 6 listeners how we met and what you remember about me from that time.
So Steph and I first met at a Women in Print breakfast in Melbourne. It was probably my first solo breakfast as patron for Women in Print. And this gorgeous woman approached me and said, "May I please have the microphone for a moment? There's something really important I have to share."
Yes, and then I took over and I think I pushed, I think it was the second or third International Print Day that we were running, and I asked everyone to hop onto social media and tell the world they love print, and if they didn't know what that was about, they could come talk to me.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And I had no idea what International Print Day was before that exact moment. And since then, Tailored Presses help promote International Print Day every year.
You do a great job. I love the photos that James does for your print shop. It's just incredible. So thinking back to that moment, what did you think of me and your first impressions, like of me as a person? Like, what was that thought process?
I think I was impressed with how confident you were, to be honest. I don't feel like I had a great deal of confidence standing up in a whole room full of people for the first time, and the way that you just approached and said, "I've got something really important." You were really passionate, and you had something to say and you needed people to hear it, and I loved that.
Yeah, I always tell people that it's a bit of a mask, that confidence, but I think my practicality overrides, because if things need doing and no one's doing them, I'll do them, you know. And then, so the second question I ask all the people on the podcast is, okay, now we've known each other a few years and you've gotten to know me a bit better. What do you think, if anything, has changed in that perspective, or what are the new things you know about me, or how do you see me now compared to that moment?
I believe the grounding part of you, that passion, is here, but it's threefold. And I believe that your determination to promote the industry is even greater than it was back then, and I can't even imagine how. And I just see you tackling some of the harder things in our industry and just doing it with such a love and lust and believing in everything that you do. It's just contagious, and it makes people want to be around you, I think. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. I don't know. I think, if, like, from my perspective, I see the problem, and the answer always seems so obvious to me. And then I just make a checklist and off I go and I check off the checklist. Like, it's,
yeah.
You know.
But I believe that's the way that you do those things is like that never give up attitude, and you just do it. But you do it with such dignity, and there's nothing. It's just, I don't know. You're just infectious in that respect. So people, when you're around you just get excited.
Oh, I can't help it. I think my husband calls me the gentle steamroller. We're going that way, and you can come with me, or you can stay behind, but we're going that way.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do it.
But you do have that infectious thing where you want to follow that steamroller.
Like, let me hop on.
You don't feel like you have to. You just do it because, you've just got a way about you that's gentle and caring, and you know that you're doing it for the greater good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love you and James and your business and the whole ethos of your stuff. And I know we had a brief chat about this on the radio show that we did last week for International Print Day. But I just, I love the story of how you did your apprenticeship and got qualified. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's an old story now, but I remember having a conversation with a print broker and him telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about when I was estimating a job, and I knew everything about the business of how it works. The only thing I didn't know how to do was put paper in the back of the machine and receive it on the front with an impression. And so I dug my heels in and said, I'm going to do my printing apprenticeship. And I smashed it out in about, I don't know, a year and a half at most. And and I knew how. Now I do know how to put paper in the back of the machine and receive it at the other end. With
Amazing.
Yes.
Yes. Watch me do this.
Yeah, stubborn. I'm stubborn.
Yes.
Yeah, and passionate. And
yeah, definitely. I think there's a certain amount of stubbornness to loving print as much as we do.
Yeah.
And a certain amount of, I think, just not accepting how other people see it maybe.
Yes, that not giving up attitude towards it. And, at Taylor Press specifically, because I can only talk about my own business, the creativity behind it is infectious.
Absolutely. And it's just, but I think from the way I see the work that you guys do, the love of the craft of it, but the love of what you do, and James, that goes into the jobs.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just give me money and I'll do it. It's your whole heart and soul of the whole family just goes into every piece that you make.
Yeah, that's true. That is actually true. And so, we always laugh about, there's not a lot of money in specialty printing because of the amount of love that you actually pour into it and the time and effort it takes to produce a job the way that your client wants it. And going from the very start of the job, from even the talking process to the end result. If we feel like it needs extra time or extra love or extra drying time, or if it needs a different kind of process during the process of it, we'll stop and we'll come back to that again and go, no, this is not working, so we need to try something else. So we never ever want to deliver an end product that's not exactly how our client wants it.
Fantastic. Hi, listeners. If you're enjoying this conversation, could you give it a comment or a like on whichever platform you're listening? Every engagement helps us to broaden our audience and take Stephanie's List conversations far and wide. If you don't already, you can also subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Thanks for your attention. Now, let's get back to the conversation. So you're a multi-talented woman, continuous learning. You are doing degree in psychology now, yes?
Yes, I am.
So how did you end up deciding to do that?
Well, Melbourne through COVID, Melburnians would know, but not a lot of other people might know what it was like to be trapped inside your home and not having that freedom to be able to be out and about. And I think being trapped in your own four walls for that long makes you sort of start to rediscover the things that are sort of sitting inside you and burning that you've never had an opportunity to think about in the hustle bustle of everyday life. And I knew that there was a part of me inside that actually wanted to discover more deeply about the way people think and how they behave, and how those thoughts turn into behaviours. And especially when I was working, I started doing work outside of like Taylor Press and working in the industry with other people. It was just a really good opportunity to understand how people think at that level and how you make change. I started studying a psychology degree, which has taught me actually a lot about myself as well as a person. So it's been amazing.
Fantastic. That's, I think, an incredible thing to do when you're discovering yourself. I'll compare it to mine, which I thought was good at the time, and I still do, but very different. So I discovered myself by dyeing my hair bright green.
Yes, you did. And it was magnificent. And it still is magnificent.
Yes, it's purple now, but it's shifted. But I understand what you're saying about you have that time to think, because for me it was, you know what, I'm tired of looking corporate, and I'm tired of looking how I don't feel inside. And so I put a bright colour in my hair and I haven't looked back.
Yeah. That self-discovery is phenomenal, and when you actually feel like you're breaking through and you're making ground with that, it just helps not only, like, once you've discovered yourself, but it helps you discover what it's like being around other people. Like, even as a mum of 3, single child, so my upbringing, my understanding of growing up is very different to my children's understanding of growing up. But let's just even put aside the whole social
stuff,
way of life for kids these days. But you know, as an only child, not understanding what it was like to be a sibling, so that it's just that deeper thinking of how people operate, and you know, how different it is to you, and then finding that understanding for other people. That's the stuff that I like, that's opened me up a bit more.
So one of the things has always struck me about you is you're very authentic and you're very open and vulnerable about who you are. And I've always loved that about you. Ever since I first met you, I've obviously known of you for a bit longer than you've known of me, because you were patron for Victoria, and you know, Kirsten Taylor Press was in all the women in print stuff. But as I've gotten to know you more through the years, for me it's always been you were a role model for me for a while, because you're just so authentic in who you are, and you're very, you know, open about your own life and, you know, what's happening. Obviously, without saying too many private things, I mean, you don't tell everybody everything, but you're very vulnerable and you're very open, and it's lovely to see that, because actually Stephen Gamble and I were talking about this when we did our podcast, that openness gives permission to others, and I think that's a gift that you have, that you give permission implicitly to others to just be themselves.
Thank you. That's actually a big thing for me, because you know, coming into business and running a business, it's been 30 years this year for James running Taylor Press, but I've been there for about 22, and walking in and thinking, oh my goodness, what is this about? Having absolutely no idea how to run a business, and just learning my way, like teaching myself how to do every single aspect of it, and then I just being an open and honest person, and then not wanting to say, you know, things are hard or things are difficult, because what sort of impression does that make for other people? Yes. So what you're saying is right, you know, and I didn't do it intentionally, and I thank you immensely for seeing me as a role model, and I really appreciate that, but it wasn't my intention to do it that way, and I think that just is the type of person who I am, where I like to see things for what they are, and I don't like to hide behind that. I am open and honest, and if it's hard, I'll say it's hard. There's no point masking it. It is what it is, and that does then allow people to feel, oh my goodness, okay, it's okay to feel this way, or it's okay to be this way. And, you know, throughout this whole time of running the business and owning the business, there's been so many different issues that have come up personally for me, like health-wise. And, you know, I don't think you can fake your way through that stuff.
You absolutely can't. For a while, I'm not sure if it's still there, but for a while on your profile, on LinkedIn particularly, and in a few other places, your description, you had the phrase "beautiful disaster."
Yes.
And I just love that. I love the rawness and the honesty and the acceptance of that. Like that's gorgeous.
Well, I think I actually have that tattooed on my body.
Of course you do.
Because I am a beautiful disaster.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with, like, life is messy.
Yes.
Life is messy. It's not, you know, we all have point A and we all get to point B, but the road from point A to point B is not a straight line. It follows many different paths. And, you know, that part of me is like, I have to accept that. There's things in the world that are going to happen, and there's things in my life that are going to happen to me that I can't change, but I can change the way that I think about those things, or I can choose to behave in one way over another. And so, a beautiful disaster is exactly what I am. I'm beautiful at being a disaster.
No, you're not a disaster. You're a gorgeous, authentic human being.
Thank you. That's very, very sweet.
No, absolutely love it. So, I know we've had a few chats about part of what you're studying now with the psychology, where you're doing you're writing up about, I think, the rhino horn campaigns as part of this project that you're working on.
Yeah, I'm currently working on.
So tell me how that's been so far in terms of what you've unearthed, what you're writing about, anything new you've learned through that sort of thing. Tell us about that.
Okay, so this year our daughter got married, so I took a hiatus from studying and I deferred for a little while, and I came back into my last semester of study, and it was environmental psychology third year, and I thought, how am I going to do this? But it's actually really impactful in the point of being in the printing industry, and we talk a lot about marketing and changing people's behaviours. And we have been discussing a case study about rhino horn and poaching in South Africa, which has been really very, very interesting, and it's actually helped cement my way of understanding, we work in the print industry every day, and how we can change behaviours from that point of view. And that's actually been like a real well, it's not like an eye-opener for me. I always knew that was there, but it's a really great reminder of what we do in this industry. So it's kind of gone hand in hand a little bit, my study and my return to study and my work. But I think when you start to expand your mind a little bit about what's happening, it just, in the world, this is just tiny here, but in the world, it's just, it's a phenomenal experience to be able to, and I feel very lucky and privileged to be able to be studying and understanding the things that are happening around me. And
amazing. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Stephen, because I think you're going to give me a very interesting answer. So I asked if you had to say one sentence to a person that you just met, knowing nothing of their background or who they are, what would that sentence be?
Ooh, okay. What would the sentence be? I think everyone battles things on a day-to-day basis. So my sentence probably would be, whatever is going on, everything will be okay.
I love it. Great stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for chatting with me, and I'm sure we'll catch up again in Melbourne when we're back there, because we're in Sydney at the moment. And thank you for being on Stephanie's List, and thank you for being my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to actually say a big congratulations to you, Stephanie, for winning your Supply 50 award last night at the Pro Print Awards.
You wouldn't let me get away with that, would you?
No, absolutely not. It's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much.
Hard work that you do, and being such an advocate for the industry. Yeah, it's very well deserved. Yeah.
I often say women in print, for me, as much as I am a bit of a feminist and I'm about the equity and equality and spreading things around and lifting those who are disenfranchised, I think what I do for women in print is good for the entire industry, because a rising tide will lift all ships. So if I make life better for some people, it'll become better for everyone.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
That conversation was recorded the morning after the Pro Print Awards of 2025 in Sydney. Kirsten and her husband James joined me and Trenton for breakfast, and we had a lovely chat. Coming up in the next episode, an amalgamation of conversations where I've asked a few people the same question around imposter syndrome. And we'll talk a little bit about what it means to me, what it means to them, and how people view dealing with it for themselves. Thanks for listening. This is Stephanie's List, and you're on it.